Okay, so we have completed P2P cycle. As a part of P2P cycle, what process we tested? We have seen how to create the requisitions, requisition creation. So against the requisition, we created RFQ, and we created based on the RFQ. Against the RFQ, we created quotations. Against the quotations, we created purchase orders. Against the purchase orders, we created receipt. With the different matchings, two-way, three-way, four-way matchings, we created invoice in AP, and we have seen how that invoice can be processed for payment. Okay, so this is a typical P2P cycle. So when we have a requirement, we raise the requisition. If you have a suppliers where already you have a quotations and you are already in the procurement act, you are involving in the procurement activities, then directly you can go with the purchase orders. Then rest of process goes by following the sequence what we discussed. And if you want to find out the right customer for maybe new item or after some time period you are going to purchase, you may start with RFQ, where this RFQ and quotations falls under sourcing. Even in our classes we gone through that RFQ and quotation basic process, which is a part of sourcing, not part of purchasing application. Now let's talk about O2C cycle. As a part of O2C cycle, first we'll create the sales order. Say sales order. So we create sales order whenever we get order from the customer point of view, that is purchase order. Once customer place the order to supplier, customer will treat that as a purchase order. For supplier, that will become sales order. So we'll see how to create the sales order, how to book the sales order. SO is nothing but sales order. Okay, after booking the sales order, we have to do the quick release, and we have to perform the ship confirmation. After ship confirmation, based on this information, we have to create the auto invoice. So whenever we get the payment from customer, we have to create the receipt against that invoice. Receipt. So this is a typical O2C cycle. So whenever we get the order from the customer, we create as a sales order. We'll check with the stock availability or supply possibilities. Then we'll confirm the sales order. Nothing but booking the sales order. In the system process, you may find it as a submitting the sales order is nothing but confirming, or call it as booking the sales order. So once we book the sales order, from inventory side, there should be initiative where we'll be picking the material to ship to the customer. There will be activity called as picking the material from maybe from your actual inventory to staging. If any packing etc. required, they'll do it, or else directly we'll do the shipping to the customer. Once you confirm with the shipment, based on that we have to do the billing to the customer. Once shipment is confirmed, we'll create the auto invoice in the receivables application against the invoice, or say against the sale. Whenever you get the payment from customer, we'll create the receipt in receivables. The same will apply against the invoice which we create in the receivables against sales order. Okay, so this is what we are going to test. This already we completed. What are the applications we have to configure? We configured and we tested the basic flow, and module wise different features also we configured and we tested. That part is already completed. Now let's focus on O2C cycle. So now first we have to configure order management. Okay, we have to configure order management. So OM configuration. So when I talk about OM configuration, there are different areas of configuration will support to run the order management process. Okay, we have to do direct configuration within the order entry system, nothing but order management. And again, we have to do some other additional configurations which will support this process. Okay, so what setups we have to do, we'll see. Okay, to implement order management and to run the process within the order management, what setups we have to complete, we'll see now. Okay, so first we have to complete setups which are related to sales order, or say order entry configuration. It's nothing but the setups which allows us to create the sales orders. Once you create the sales order in EBS, the rest of statuses based on the activity what we are performing against the sales order, the status updates and everything will happen based on the workflow, right? So that workflow here we call as with a different name. Let's include the pricing related setups also here. So order entry configuration. After order entry configuration, we have to configure pricing related configuration also. So pricing configuration, okay, to derive the price for the item which we are going to sell to the customers. So you have a order entry configuration and pricing configuration, you can start creating the sales orders. And if you want to create the sales orders, we require information which we get with the concept called as GOB, okay, global order promising system. As global order promising, okay, global order promising, GOB. So here we have to set up some ATP sourcing and other configurations where the data will flow from inventory side to order management application, okay, and with the help of the data only we'll be able to do it. And there will be some collection process also, data collection process, which we have to run. We'll see as a part of configuration exactly which setups we have to perform. Say you're done with everything, then you can start creating the order. Say you created sales order. After creating the sales order, the status need to be updated based on like how you see in EBS, booked, pick release, ship confirmation, or awaiting for shipping, or I'll say closed. All the statuses need to be updated against the sales order. For that, equal to workflow. In EBS, we have a workflow. The same workflow concept within the Fusion we call as DOO. 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 It stands for distributed order orchestration. Distributed order orchestration. Okay. So distributed order orchestration. So this is nothing but our EBS workflow only. Okay, what we use for order fulfillment process. I mean, where the order, the status standing, the process standing, that all you can specify. So we don't need to do anything with DOO, distributed order orchestration, until unless we have a requirement of changing the various stages when we are doing the order fulfillment. Otherwise, you can use the standard one which Oracle provides. Even in EBS also we do the same. If any requirement from the client, so accordingly we do the workflow customization, or else you can use the same standard one which supports the major key execution related setups. The setups in the sense the stages of the order process. So primarily here we have to complete order entry configuration, pricing, and global order promising configuration. Okay, that will help us to run this O2C cycle. I mean to say, just it supports up to OM, then we will do the account receivables configuration so that we can test O2C cycle. Once we're done with O2C cycle, we can focus on order management to test other features which are available within the OM. Fine. So do just, it's a workflow which we have. Anyway, I'll take you through that workflow process, how if you want to modify, how to modify, how you can map with your business unit. There are some information which you have to understand. We'll go through it. Fine. So now we'll start with the order management configuration. These are the basic setups which you have to complete to implement order management. So that system will allow us to create the sales orders, and we can perform the sales order creation, booking, pick, release, and ship confirmation. Okay, once we are ready with the account receivables configuration, based on that we can create the auto invoice and we can create the receipt. We'll see those processes also. Fine. Now first we'll go and set the order management parameters. When you look at these setups, it's almost same as EBS. What are the setups we do in EBS to implement order management? Same setups here you can notice. So first we have to set OM parameters. Okay, take the task name, go to our implementation project, so ERP tree implementation project. Okay, sorry, we didn't add the order management offering into this project, right? So here we have only financial, procurement, product management, and material management and logistics. Since we are going to implement order management, add that module, or you may call as offering, but the order management itself they given as a separate offering. In fact, that is module. Okay, add order management to our project. So add to our project so that we can perform the OEM setups. Just click on done. Okay, now search for order management parameters. Here primarily we have to map our inventory organization with order management configuration for specific business unit. So in EBS we set item validation organization, right? The same we are going to do here. So order management parameters. Here is the task. Click on go to task icon. Here select the parameter called as item validation organization. Select item validation organization. Just click on add. Select our business unit. Here we have a big list, better you can search. ERP tree. Select our inventory organization. Okay, ERP tree, dollars inventory. So that the items which are associated with this inventory we can access in the sales order creation process when you are creating the sales order against this business unit. Say save and close. So we configured OEM parameters. Now we'll go and create the release sequence rule. Okay, just you can search with the same name. Just click on manage release sequence rules. Click on go to task icon. Okay, click on create. So you can give the name as ERP tree release sequence rule. Here you have to set the release priority. Okay, so what is the purpose of this release sequence rule? So with this, what we can do is when system is going to pick, okay, when system is going to pick which lines, okay, what are the lines we have, I mean system has to release for picking, that specification, that criteria you can specify here, on what base system has to release the sales order lines. You can specify the priority here, at least one priority you have to set based on what system has to do the picking. Okay, so I'm just specifying the sales order. You can say just ascending, and other priority, if not sales order based, what is the other priority you can specify. These all priorities you can specify. So I'm just giving sales order base. Okay, based on the sales order, it has to just release the lines in the picking process. Just say save and close. Just click on done. The next task is pick slip grouping rules. Okay, search with the task name. See the earlier task, release sequence rule. With this, we specified the criteria how system has to pick, which line system has to pick with which priority. Okay, we given sales order priority, it has to pick. And with the pick slip grouping rule, what we'll do is whatever the line system is going to do the release for picking purpose, those how those need to be grouped. The grouping rules we have to create based on which criteria the lines need to be grouped. Okay, that will be setting by using the pick slip grouping rule. So this is the task name, manage pick slip grouping rules. Click on go to task icon. Just click on create. You can give prefix as ERP tree pick slip grouping rule. So this is a grouping criteria on what base system has to perform the grouping. So it has to consider based on order number and customer, or else you may go with some other criteria also. So based on this criteria, what system will do is the lines whatever released, okay, whatever the lines released, those lines it will group for pick slip creation purpose. I'm just specifying order base, or else the client requirement may be just based on the customer system has to do the grouping, or else based on just order entry. When we are just dealing with the client, that definitely will talk to the client on what criteria, how the grouping should happen. Accordingly you can specify this grouping criteria. Now I'm just giving the grouping criteria as a order number and customer. With this combination, system has to do the grouping for pick slips creation purpose. Just say save and close. Just click on done. The next task is ship confirmation rule. Click on search. Task name is manage ship confirmation rules. Click on go to task icon. Okay, ship confirmation is a final step where we create the sales order, will book and will do the pick release. Finally, we'll do the ship confirmation once you perform the activity of shipping the material to the customer. So once you do that activity, that how that system has to update the information within the system. I mean how the activity should update the information in the system, that you can specify here. So here you can give the name as ERP3 ship confirmation rule. Okay, ship confirmation rule. So here primarily you can specify whenever you do the shipping, if you want to, ideally, like once you do the ship confirmation, we have to take that information into auto invoice interface tables. From there we can import the data into receivables application to create the auto invoice. So in this process, primarily you can just, once you do that activity, the system has to close the shipment. And here there is one checkbox called as defer shipment, defer sending the inventory updates to integrated application, nothing but order management. Okay, sorry, receivables application. So you can uncheck this checkbox so that system won't defer in the sense delaying. It won't, if you enable the checkbox, system won't send that updates to interface tables. So you can disable the checkbox so that once you perform the ship confirmation, the sales order information would get populated in the auto invoice interface table, so that we can import that information to receivables as a base tables. Receivables base tables, done. Okay, so you can say save and close. Fine, once you perform the ship confirmation, system has to update that information in the auto invoice interface table, so that we can import into receivables application. That specification we given by unchecking that checkbox. Done. So create picking rules. Click on search. Click on manage picking rules. Click on go to task icon. Click on create. Here you can provide the name, ERP3 picking rule. And first activate this rule. So when we are going to ship that material, when we are going to pick the material from the inventories, whether you, whatever the sales order, I mean whatever the stock available within the inventory, if partial quantity is available, whether you want to pick, or you want to, if quantity is available, you want to pick the full quantity of material, that specifications and all you can give here. I am just specifying allow partial picking also. Okay, the partial quantity also you want to pick, primarily enable it. And if you want to allow the process to pick partial quantity also, you can enable the checkbox. And this is additional criteria priority base you can set by following material consumption and what criteria you want to do, and other specifications also you can provide here. Just say save and close. Okay, then click on done. The next setup is the picking rule assignments. Manage picking rule assignments. Click on go to task icon. So click on add. Okay, select our organization, ERP3 dollars inventory sequence, any sequence you can specify. So we created picking rule. The picking rule for which inventory organization that we are going to specify. For this inventory, ERP3 dollars inventory, we are going to assign the picking rule. That's what picking rule assignment. Primarily, the rule picking rule will be assigning to specific inventory organization. What we created, ERP3 picking rule, and you can make it as active. Okay, again this picking rule for this inventory organization, by following which criteria, if you want to have some criteria filter, you can specify all those information here. Ideally not required, just say save and close. Then that's all about picking rule assignment to inventory organization. The next step is pick wave release rule. Search for the task. manage peak wave release rules. Scroll a little down. So task is manage peak wave release rule. Click on go to task icon. Click on add. Say ERP3 peak wave release rule. So here you can specify the criteria for which organization, which is sub inventory. All the details you can just type ERP3. And I think we have sub inventory name as a iPhone sub inventory. Okay, and other specifications, release status only unreleased lines or back order lines. Say specify all. Okay, all type of lines. Okay, we want to apply this release rule. And other specifications, nothing is mandatory here. That will be fine. If you want to specify the order types, etc., you can specify here. Only for sales order, transfer orders, or written RTA, written material authorization, RMA. So for what exactly you can give the specifications, and you can say save and close. And here we have you can go to options. Here, pick from which is sub inventory. The same you can specify. Okay, if you have a specific staging, when you are just doing this picking process to ship the customer, so from which sub inventory you have to pick, and again if you have a process of placing that material within the staging sub inventory, that staging sub inventory also you can specify. You may have some staging sub inventory, or else you can, the same you are treating as a staging sub inventory, you can specify like this. Okay, so anyway, it's not mandatory, not required. So you can just set all these rules whatever you created as a defaulting. It's not mandatory. If you set that accordingly, you can set that options where system will auto confirm picking, and it automatically, if you want to make system to create the shipments, all you can do it. But anyway, we'll see how to do through manual process. If you set these options, it will auto create. Okay, these just you can specify, since those we created here, we can map it. ERP3 release sequence rule, ERP3 pick slip grouping rule. Fine. Then say save and close. Done. So create staging sub inventory. We'll go and create one staging sub inventory. Search for sub inventory. This, once we pick, we'll place in the staging, then we'll be shipping to the customer. So I think we created only one sub inventory. We'll create one staging sub inventory. For which inventory organization? ERP3 dollars. Just click on create. Okay, let's name it as a staging. Okay, and here sub inventory type you can select as a receiving one. For receiving purpose, nothing but staging, and specify the location. Okay, say save and close. Click on done. Done with that. Now we have to specify the shipping parameters. Search. Click on manage shipping parameters. Click on go to task icon. Okay, here you specify the shipping parameters. We created ship confirmation rule, right, that you can specify here. You could see the parameters which are mandatory and optional. Here we created as a ERP3 ship confirmation rule. And the weight unit of measurement class you can select as a weight. The unit of measurement, how will be measuring, if it is a volume, in case of volume, how will be measuring, and currency and all, we just everything we have. And you can just select the release sequence rules which are mandatory here. ERP3 release sequence rule, and ERP3 pick slip grouping rule, and select your staging sub inventory here. It's not reflecting, no issues, just will select the same sub inventory as a staging. Okay, so done. You can say save and close. Attribute is required. Okay, here shipment set behavior, just select any one of the value it will accept. Ideally it should allow, it's not mandatory field. It is asking for that parameter, you can specify, but it's not accepting that. Say information. Okay, done. So now what we'll do is, to create the customer, we'll create the collector, then payment terms, statement cycle. By grouping these collector, payment terms, statement cycles, okay, we'll create the customer profile class, and we'll create the customer and customer site information also. And before that, we have to perform some other setup. We have to create, before we create customer and customer site, we have to create separate reference data set for our customer site. So create a reference data set for customer site, because whatever Oracle provides as the common reference data set won't be available when you create the customer address or customer site. So separate one we have to create, and that we have to associate to our customer site. The same we have to assign to business unit. So create reference data set for customer site. The same reference data set assigned to, reference data set is nothing but RDS. Okay, say assign RDS to business unit. We'll see how to do this. So once you complete that, you can create the customer definition. Fine. So just to be specified shipping parameters, right? Now we'll go and create the collector. So if already receivables is implemented, you can find all these setups, you don't need to do it. Now we not yet completed receivables configuration. Since we are going to start with the sales order process, we can just complete this, or else we can complete the order management. After completing receivables, we can start with the process. As a part of receivables, we can do all these setups. Anyway, to create the sales order, we need customer. These all setups need to be completed. Let's do as a part of OM itself. So again, within the receivables, we don't need to do the same customer definition we can use. Okay, we'll go and create the collector. We'll be involving in collecting the payment from customer, collection activities. Say collectors. So manage collectors. Click on create. Name it as ERP3 collector. employee who is acting as a collector, which employee is acting, the employee name you can provide here, ERP tree, and collector set, you can go with the common. Okay, reference data set, already this we discussed when as a part of payment terms, right? The same. Say save and close. So create payment terms. Click on search. So receivables payment terms. Create receivables payment terms. So manage receivables payment terms. Click on go to task icon. Say create. Select reference data set as a common. Name it as ERP tree immediate. I'm writing very short name. So discount basis, invoice amount, installment options, include tax and freight in first installment itself. So since immediate, you can specify the days as a 0. Okay. So customer has to pay immediately. If you associate this payment terms against any invoice. So save and close. Now create statement cycle. How often we want to send the statements to customer. So that intervals we can specify within the statement cycle definition. Statement cycles. Manage statement cycles. Click on go to task icon. Click on create. So we can name it as ERP tree. Say we want to send monthly statement to customers, and interval same monthly. And here you can go to cycle dates. Click on add the cycle we are creating for which business unit. ERP tree. Just type uppercase. It is not accepting. Click on drop down. Okay, the OM configuration. Yeah, it is not taking. It's considering like we didn't perform any AR configuration. Okay, that could be the reason it is not accepting. No issues. The statement cycle we can select any one of the existing. So now by combining all this, we have to create the customer profile class, which talks about the classification of customers, whether good customers or bad customers or average or excellent. The supplier classification we can define by using the customer profile class. Search for customer profile classes. Customer profile class. So manage receivables customer profile classes. Click on go to task icon. Just click on create. ERP tree, let's say it's a standard profile, and select collector. ERP tree collector. Select payment terms. ERP tree immediate, and statement cycle. that we can accept what system is defaulting here, since we could not create that. Say save and close. So by providing this basic information, you can create the customer profile class. Now before we go and create the customer, we'll create the reference data set for customer site, because we cannot use the common reference data set. If you want to use enterprise, already we discussed, by default Oracle provides two reference data sets. One is common, other one is enterprise. If you want to use enterprise one, you can use it. Let's go and create, and we'll use our BU specific reference data set for customer site. Go to reference data sets, reference data sets. Just click on search. Just click on manage reference data sets. Click on go to task icon. Just click on create. You can provide the name as ERP3 customer, or else you can specify the BU name, ERP3 US BU set. ERP3 US BU set. Say save and close. Now we can go and create the customer. This you can assign to BU now or later, any point of time you can do it, or else we'll go and assign this reference data set to our business unit. So search for the task called as business unit set assignments. Okay, manage business unit set assignments. Task name is manage business unit set assignments. For which business unit we want to associate the newly created reference data set to ERP3 US business unit. Search for ERP3 US business unit. Select. Say save and close. Here we have one of the reference data object called as customer account site. So here you have to override ERP3, sorry, ERP3 US BU set. Select it. And say save and close. Okay, now the next step is create customer and customer address. Search for the task called as create customer. So for this you don't need to assign any additional roles, same as supplier. For supplier definition we have to assign supplier manager role to the user so that you can access, but customer definition you can do as a part of project or else as a part of invoice or say transaction workbench in the receivables. Okay, click on create customer. Click on go to task icon. You can provide the customer name, say ERP3 customer 1. So system created a customer account number. If you are going to use this customer in order management sales order creation process, as a mandatory you have to provide the account description. I'm going to provide customer name as account description also. It's very important. You should provide account description, otherwise by using this customer you cannot process sales orders in OM. And select account address set. Here you don't find common. Okay, these all are created by someone else. So we created in the same way, that is ERP tree. If not ERP tree, you can just select here enterprise. The same you have to associate with your business unit also. So this is the one we created and we assigned to our BU. The same we are selecting here. And provide site name, customer site name, ERP site, provide address, ERP tree. Any test you can provide. Ultimately we have to create the address. So this is address. This is a customer address which we are going to treat as a customer site related address. So what purpose we are going to keep in touch with this customer? That purpose we have to specify. Being a supplier, what purpose we are going to keep in touch with this address, that you can specify as a address purpose. Click on add and select purpose. What purpose? Say if customer is going to place order to us, will be billing to this location, will send the bill to this location to this customer. Say this site for billing purpose. Again click on add. To the same site you may ship the material also. You can specify the purpose as a ship to. Now the ship to and bill to you have to map. So if this address is ship to, this address is for shipping purpose, then which is the bill to address? Same address you can select. That's how system will take the mapping. So this is a customer definition, and here we have a customer site or customer address definition. What purpose this address we are going to use? To send the bill and to ship the material. Two purposes we created this site. Now say save and close. For this customer we created one customer profile class where we specified payment terms, collector and statement cycles, right? That we have to assign to this customer. What system is giving the message? It is showing some matching organization. There is some other organization which created as a ERP tree US, some other definition. Let's see here, what is this? The legal entity. Since that is the entity it is showing, but now whatever we are creating, that is customer definition. Say option 2, enable create new organization based on what you provided. This we have to create. We are creating as a separate organization. This is a legal entity, that is separate organization. So now we are creating the customer. Select create as a separate customer. Say okay. Fine. System created customer. Now find the same customer. Customer name is ERP tree. Click on search. That you can provide the name as ERP tree customer. So click on account number. Just click on account number and go to profile history. And go to actions. Say correct record. Click on correct record so that you can update the customer profile. You can associate the customer profile what we created. Once you click on correct record, this section will be open. So automatically system is taking one predefined customer profile class as default. For every new customer definition, system will use this profile class. But we created our own profile class that you can select. ERP tree standard. Say okay. So system within this profile class only we given the collector details. Yes, system is defaulting, and we given the payment terms, and we have a statement cycle. The same system is defaulting. Now you can say save and close. So save and close, done. Now go to site. Okay, this is customer master record. Every customer will have a one or multiple accounts. Under each account we can have one or multiple sites. So click on site number. Just click on site number. Go to profile history. Click on create site profile. The same profile whatever we associate at account level, that would get defaulted to the site. Just click on create site profile. Automatically system will default. It will update. Done. So system is taking the same ERP standard customer profile class and collector, payment terms, etc. Okay, just you have to click on that. Automatically system will copy that profile from the account to site. Done. Click on save and close. So customer definition is ready. Okay, customer definition is ready. We just done with all this. So now we have to assign roles to user. So if you want to configure pricing related setup, these are the pricing related setups. We have to assign pricing related roles. Along with the pricing related roles, to perform the sales order creation process and all, whatever the role is required, that also will go and assign to the user. Okay, so we're done up to here. So I just given this task as a separate task, set up customer account description. Okay, that already just we did as a part of customer definition only, but make sure that you are including the customer account description as a part of customer definition. We given the description also for account, that I specified as a separate task, that you can ignore it. So we're done up to here. Done. Now we have to assign this also. We completed, right? Assign reference data set to BU. Assign reference to this already be done. So assign roles to user. Okay, as a part of this order management configuration, if you want to do this pricing related setups, so we need access to role called as pricing administrator. So we'll go and assign that role to the user so that we can navigate and we can perform the relevant setups. Okay, go to security console. Tools, security console. Go to users. Username is ERP3. Search. Click on username. Click on edit. Click on add role. Okay, you can assign primarily the role called as pricing administrator. So add role membership, nothing but assign. Along with that, we have few other seeded pricing related roles. If you want to assign, you can assign, or else you may ignore it. Pricing manager. Say assign. Another role is pricing analyst. Okay, so we know very well how to verify which role has which privileges, right? That we discussed as a part of role customization, how we can compare roles, how we can verify what privileges which role has. The same logic you can apply to if you want to understand which role has which privileges. Done. So these roles will allow us to do the pricing configuration instead of assigning the OM process related role, let's assign now itself. Okay, instead of assigning later, we can assign now itself. So the role name is order manager. This role will give access to us to create the sales orders. But anyway, still we have to complete many setups. After completing that, we can use this role. Say add role membership. Since we assign the roles, we'll go and provide the data access for these roles. So save and close. Just click on done. Now go to task called as data access for users. Click on task list. Click on search. Task name is data access for users. You can search from this page or from project. Manage data access for users. Just click on create. Username is ERP tree. Select role. So pricing administrator, associate or business unit, ERP tree, US business unit. Click on add. And pricing analyst. Security contest is business unit. Contest values ERP tree, US business unit. Click on add. So pricing manager. Select contest as a business unit. ERP tree, US business unit. And we have one more role which will give access to sales order creation. Username is ERP tree. Role is order manager. Contest is business unit. ERP tree, US business unit. Say save and close. Submit LDAP job. Click on schedule new process. Just take time. Yep. Search for LDAP. Fine. Select job called as retrieve latest LDAP changes. Say OK and submit. Okay, anyway, it will take some time, and we're done up to here. Okay, so wait for few minutes so that the role synchronization will happen. Once the role synchronization happen, then only you'll be able to access these tasks. Okay, we'll wait for few minutes. Okay, now we'll go and verify. Go to navigator. Just click on the navigator icon. Go to supply chain execution. Okay, under this you can find the pricing administration. It's a new task. Okay, just click on this pricing administration task. Go to task list. Here you can perform the pricing related configuration. First we'll go and create the price list. When I talk about EBS, just if you create price list, with the help of price list you will be able to proceed with the sales order, but here it's a mandatory how to complete all these setups, which will decide the criteria, how much, what price need to be derived for the specific item based on the supplier and many other parameters. Okay, we'll see. So first we'll go and create the price list. Just click on manage price list, click on create. Okay, so provide the name, arbitrary price list. The price list type, okay, segment based price list we are selecting, and currency USD. Select business unit. If you find your business unit in this field, okay, you can go ahead and you can select. If you don't find business unit here, that means we have to understand the roles are not synchronized properly. Okay, in that case we have to wait for some time. We'll try now. So the synchronization is not completed, that means. No. Okay, role related provisioning is happened, but the order management related role and this pricing related role all we assign. Out of that, half of role synchronization was done. Still few roles synchronization need to be completed. Okay, better what we can do is, so just sign out and sign in so that system will establish new session. Maybe in the process of establishing new session, the update system may take, so that we can perform the setups. Otherwise, wait for some time and try. Go to navigator. Supply chain execution. Pricing administration. Go to price list. Click on create. First we'll check. Yep, now it is fetching. So provide the name arbitrary price list. Provide currency. So here the price list type is segment price list. Start date, already we given the business unit. You can select start date. You can select today's date. And pricing charge definition. Select as a sales price. Based on that, system will default relevant parameters. So charge type is sale and the charge subtype is price. And now you can click on save and edit. So we have to add items into this price list. Okay, so here we are under this tab price list lines. Under that we have under item option selection. So if you want to find out the items here which already for which items you define the price, you can find from here. You didn't define any price for any item, so just click on create, add, select item, so MacBook, right? So after selecting item you can click on create charge. Okay, just click on create charge and scroll little down. After clicking on create charge, scroll little down. Here you can provide the price for the item. I'm giving $1,000, and you may enable allow manual change to change the price. Start date, I'm selecting today's date for this price applicability for this item. And here go to access sets. Okay, this price list level also we have to specify the reference data set. Click on add, select common reference data set, that is the one which you are using. So common. Now just click on approve. You have to approve this price list. Click on save and close and verify the status. In progress. Then click on search. Our price list status is approved. For testing purpose we added only one item. So what are the items we have, which item we are selling to the customer, according to all the items we have to list out in the price list itself. Done. Now we have to create the pricing segment. The pricing segment you can create through lookups. Okay, the lookup name is this. So better we can open one more window through different tab. Go to setup and maintenance. Go to search. Here search for standard lookups. Okay, this is the task, manage standard lookups. Sorry. So here we have the lookup name. ORAQP customer pricing segment. Click on search. So this is a lookup name. Within this you can create the values. So this is lookup type and meaning, description. This module belongs to which module? Pricing administration. So here we can create one value for our configuration purpose. Click on add. You can give the name as ERP3 pricing segment. Display sequence. around 90, 10, 20, 30 up to 90 we have. This you may specify as a 100. Start date, you may follow the same date or else you can take today's date. I'm giving John 1st 16. Whatever already predefined we have. So accordingly I'm providing the start date or else you can take the today's date. No issues. So ERP3 pricing segment. Say save and close. Now we have to create the pricing strategy. Go to task list. So here you can find the task called as manage pricing strategies. Click on manage pricing strategies. Click on create. ERP3 pricing strategy. So this pricing strategy for which business unit, select it. Select default currency for this. Specify start date. And say save and edit. We created price list already, right? Which price list? Segment price list. That we have to associate to pricing strategy. Search, select, and say apply. Just click on OK. Okay, just assign price list to your pricing strategy. Specify the start date. And this pricing strategy also we have talked to. Now click on save and close. You can see status is approved. Done. Now create customer pricing profile. Go to task list. Here we have a task called as manage customer pricing profile. Click on create. We have customer called as ERP3 customer 1. ERP3 customer 1, select. And revenue point of view, what is the potentiality of this customer? Say very high. And cost to serve high, or anything you can select depending on how you will be measuring that customer in terms of how revenue you are generating, what size of the customer, and what is the value you will treat for that customer, and the rating, what rating you will give for customer. Based on those aspects you can just rate all these based on this rating. See, because if customer all the aspects is very high, like potential customer, revenue point of view, or rating point of view, or size point of view, so very big customer, in that case you may give less price for that. Accordingly the pricing system will derive. Okay, so we are saying high, and customer rating also high, the customer size large customer. Okay, so here remember, other than customer size, okay, other than customer size, for everything we given high, the same you have to specify in the further configuration also, so that when you create transaction with this customer, so if these are meeting with the pricing definition, then only system will derive. It will verify these parameters for price derivation purpose. So customer size is large, rest of all we given as a high. Provide start date. So save and close. Click on done. Now the next task is pricing segments. Create pricing segments. Click on manage pricing segments. So you can click on create. The revenue potential we given as high. Customer size we given large. And cost to serve also we given high. Customer value we just specified as high. And everything we given high other than customer size large. High. And pricing segment just now we created, that is ERP3 pricing segment. And the precedence you may give as 200 for this. Then say save and close. Done. Now pricing strategy assignment. Whatever the pricing strategy we created, that we have to assign. Associate. So go to task list. Here is the task called as manage pricing strategy assignment. Click on the task. So here we have a line and header. Select header pricing strategy assignment, and here click on add row. Select our pricing segment, ERP tree pricing segment, and transaction type, say for sales order. Pricing strategy, ERP tree pricing strategy, and precedence you can give 20. Already there is one more. So save and close. Fine, we're done with all the pricing related setups. If these pricing related setups, if you are expecting to see immediate impact, that doesn't work. By default, Oracle introduced this catching concept for pricing for better performance of instance. So what are the setups, pricing related setups you do, those would reflect by taking 1 hour time. If you want to reflect this pricing related configuration, or else you did pricing setups now, later point of time you want to do some change against these setups, even if you do these setups, those would reflect after 1 hour only. If you want to see the impact of these changes immediately, you can go and disable the pricing related catching, but this is not recommended to do in the production environment. If you are going to do this in the test environment where you are testing the different scenarios and you are doing some changes, those should be reflected immediately. In that case, yes, you can go ahead and you can do it, but this disabling the catching is not at all recommended in the production environments. Okay, not at all recommended. Fine, since this is just we are testing, we'll go and see how to disable the catching. Go to task list. Here we have a pricing configuration. Under that we have a task called as manage algorithms, pricing algorithm. Click on manage algorithms. Here scroll little down and go to pricing related algorithm. Here we have pricing related algorithms. So price sales transaction, we have 4 here, right? 1 2 3 4 with the same name. But if you notice here, these are the different versions, 0 1 2 3. Okay, now if you want to do any changes, you have to create the new version. Okay, we have to create the new version. Within that version you can do the modification. So this is the latest one, right? 0 1 2 3. You select it. This is the one. select it, go to actions, so create version. Always system will consider latest version only. In the latest version, we are creating the new version, means system will create one more version as a 4. So within that we'll be doing these changes. What are the changes we are doing? Accordingly system will follow the updates. So now you could see system created version 4. Now click on this. Go to initialize. Okay. So for previous batch, for to show the same point, we just did the change. By default, in any environment, you can see this as a true. Okay. You can see this value input enable catching. Okay, enable catchy you can see as a true. By default, this is how you can see. What you could do is you have to make it as a false. If you make it as a false, if you do any pricing related changes, those would reflect immediately. Even now, whatever the setups we did, those would reflect in the process by taking 1 hour time. If you want to impact the changes for the respective process, what we are working on related to pricing, you have to make this enable catch as a false. Okay, say save and close. Say save and close. The version is 4, right? Go to the same. So what is the status of this algorithm? In progress. This you have to publish. So we selected the same. Go to actions. Say publish. You should publish. Otherwise, you cannot see the changes as you made. So system is saying that this record is blocked by other user and all. That is not true. Just simply what you can do is you can sign out and sign in, and system will accept if you try to submit this for publishing. Username is ERQ3. Provide password. Supply chain execution. Go to pricing administration. Go to task list. Under pricing configuration, go to manage algorithms. Fine, this is algorithm which we just created as a new version. Right. Select it. Go to actions and say publish. Now go and verify the status of the algorithm. With version 4, the status is published. So this is how you can disable that pricing related catching. Okay, done. But it's not at all recommended to do in the production environment. Okay, the test environments you can do it, so that will help us when you're doing the testing. If we do some changes, that would get reflected immediately. Done. So now we'll go and create the shipping methods, which we call as carriers. Go to project, or directly you can navigate to search page. Okay, we have to create the shipping method that we have to associate with the inventory organization. That shipping method we are going to use for which inventory we have to specify. Search for carriers. So manage carriers. Just click on create. Provide the name. Arbitrary of some road. So provide name, then you can just click on add for shipping methods. So you can just select service level, say ground, and mode of transportation, say truckload or anything, just reality you can select here. And here click on select and add. So this transportation or this shipping method you are going to use for which inventory organization. So ERP3 Dallas inventory. Say apply. Click on OK. The same way, the same shipping method if you want to use for multiple inventory organizations, you may list out here. Say save and close. We created shipping method. Done. So now we have to create the planning source system. Okay, go to planning source system. Go to navigator. So go to supply chain planning. Click on plan inputs. Okay, these all are related to global order promising. The setups. Okay, just go to task list. Here you have manage planning source systems. Click on this task. So select OPS. Okay, Oracle planning system, like where like the orchestration type is order orchestration. Just click on directly you can click on manage organization list. Click on refresh organization list, so that the new organizations which are available, which are not updated in this system, will identify. You can find our organizations. Arbitrary search. What we are trying to do is, here we are trying to make these organizations to be available for order management process. Okay, select these. So just we are enabling ERP3 item organization under Dallas inventory. Enable these two check boxes, say save and close. Click on done. Now we update it. Now what we have to do is, we have to run this collect planning data. Okay, we have to run this collect planning data. Once we run the collect planning data, this data would be system will be moving to collection planning center. Okay, the planning center it will be moving. Once the data will be moved to planning center, system will allow us to do the configuration as a the sourcing rules and other configuration also you can do for that. Otherwise you don't find our inventory organizations or items to configure sourcing rules. Okay, system has to move the data into collection planning center as a source. If data is available, our inventory organizations, items and other definitions. So once the data is available in the planning center, then only the when we are creating the sourcing rules, the same data would be available for configuration purpose. So we have to run the job called as collect planning data. This is a separate task within the project. You can search and find, or else this would be available as a navigation also. The same page you can find collect planning data. Source system. Select source system as a OPS, and here collection type we have. Okay, so what you can do is, if you are going to run first time, you can select targeted. Later if you do some changes, those should be reflected in the sense you can just specify net changes. Okay, I'm selecting targeted. So you can specify which data you want to populate in the planning center. So simply you can select all the values or specific values. Let's proceed with all and go to supply planning data tab also. Here also which data you want to update within the planning center. I'm selecting all. So demand planning data and all this is not required for us. Okay, and the reference data and supply planning data, you select all the information. System will expect to specify these dates. Okay, source availability, any date range past to till date you can select. It will consider to update that relevant data with this date range. You can submit. So since we selected many entities, it will take time. Okay, so anyway you can monitor that job. Once you can see all the jobs, child jobs and everything ended, the status called as succeeded, you can proceed with the next step. Ideally you can take, it will take 10 minutes time. Okay, so 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes more than 10 minutes also. Go to schedule process. The system started running extract. Okay, first it will extract the data elements, and next step would be loading. It will extract whatever the entities data we specified, all the data it will extract. The next step would be, it will be loading the same data into planning center, a planning repository. So if you want to see the summarized jobs, you can go to hierarchy. Here you can see this is job we submitted, collection job set. If you expand, you could see here now system is running the extract master data, the selected data. It is passed, and this job is running many child jobs. You could see here many child jobs it will be running. There are many. Okay, so it will take around 10 minutes time, no doubt in that. So what I'll do is I'll stop the recording, and once this job is completed we'll resume and we'll continue. Okay, please wait for 5 to 10 minutes. Here I'm going to stop the recording. Okay, it took around 15 to 20 minutes time to complete this collection data. So here you can notice, so first system extracted master data for all the entities whatever we selected, the same it loaded into the planning center. The finally the job is completed. Collection job set is completed. Is running some other jobs. Not at we don't need to wait to see those as completed. Okay, this would be more than enough. Okay, done. Fine. So we completed up to here. Now we'll go and create the sourcing roles. Go to plan inputs. Click on task list. Click on manage sourcing rules. So the process, whatever we submitted, if the process is the data, if everything is reflecting, we can create the sourcing rules, or else we have to wait for some time. We'll see that. Click on create. Yeah, quickly. Sourcing rules. Click on add sourcing rule effective dates and click on add sources. Select type as a transfer from. If you can find our inventory organization here, the job whatever we submitted, collect planning data that completed successfully. We could see the status, but sometimes may take to reflect the changes, whatever the data got processed. We'll see. So search for our inventory organization. Yes, we are able to find. That means that is completed, normal, and everything is reflecting. Select our inventory organization. Allocation percentage, you can say 100. Ranking, any rank you can specify. Say save and close. The next task is sourcing assignment set. Okay, the sourcing assignment set will make sure that to which we are going to assign our inventory and everything into which set the same set is set as a default or not. First we'll go to assignment set. Go to manage assignment sets. Click on search. So you could see by default what Oracle is providing. Global order promising. You can just open this, or else we can create one more. Only the point is we have to create and we have to add the inventory and whatever the criteria you select, that you have to make sure that you set as a profile value. Default profile value we have, profile option we have. There we have to set our sourcing assignment set as a default value. That we can do, or else we can use existing one. You can open any one of the sourcing set. I'm just selecting this and click on edit. So here you can add. Click on add assignment level. So I want to go with organization level assignment. Select our inventory organization and sourcing type, sourcing rule, and select what are the sourcing rule we created. Okay, ERP tree sourcing rule. Done. So since we included our inventory organization within this assignment set, make sure that the same assignment set is available as a value for default sourcing set assignment. So this is a profile option we have to use MSP default assignment set. Here make sure that within which is sourcing assignment set we include our inventory that is available as a default value. If you create new one, that you have to associate to that profile option. That's all. Go to setup and maintenance. Go to profile options. I'll simply search for profile values. Okay, manage administrator profile values. The profile option name is this. Click on search. Here verify for this MSP default assignment set which value is associated. Here we have global order promising. That is the reason we added our inventory within that, or else you can create your own. Within that you can include your inventory or any other criteria that you have to select here. Now, anyway, this is what we require. Our inventory and all we added into this value only. So save and close. No changes we did. Now create ATP rules. Go to order promising. The supply chain planning. Go to order promising. Go to task list. Here we have a task called as manage ATP rules. Click on manage ATP rules. Click on add. Say ERP3 ATP rules available to promise. Here you can go with this option. You don't have to give any specifications. Go to ATP rule assignment. Click on add assignment. What base? Say organization base. On what base you want to create available to promise rule. You can go with this. I'm just selecting. You can select anything. Just you can select. I'm selecting item and organization. Okay, or else you can select simply organization. Let's go with item. Here $3. Select item. Okay, MacBook. Just save and close. Done. Now again we have to run the collect planning data and we have to submit, refresh and start the order promising server. So because these setups whatever we perform, these also system again it has to update. Now go to plan inputs. Go to task list. Say collect planning data. So net changes only the whatever the changes are happened, that data only system will try to update, not all the data. So you may go and select what are the definitions we did. Accordingly, you may select the data from here. Okay. So exactly whatever the definitions we did in addition to that existing etc. You can select, or else you can pick all these. Okay, you can go with the collection type as a net changes and submit. only for whatever the data updates we have for that collection data compared to previous submission. Only those changes it will take into consideration. Go to schedule process. Okay, so after completing this, what we have to do is we have to submit one more job. This is a job you have to submit. After completing this collect planning data, you have to submit refresh and start the order promising server. That system complete will run, but just I'll take you through that job. Refresh and start order promising server. Okay, here what you can do is you can select which data system has to refresh to keep the data available for sales order creation and fulfillment process. You can select all these parameters. In the planning name, you may select all, or else you can select global order promising. You can go with all. You can just click on submit. Okay, please do submit this job also. After completing this, we know this takes time. It will take 10 to 15 minutes time, sometimes more than that. So this job whatever you submitted, after completing this job, what you can do is you submit this job also. Refresh and start the order promising server. Submit. When you are submitting, select all the parameters and select plan names as all. Then you can click on submit. Okay, after completing this, we'll go with the better we can. After this, we'll proceed with the receivables configuration. So after completing receivables configuration, we'll run the O2C cycle. The entire cycle will just run through. After that, we'll focus on what are the different concepts we have as a part of order management. Okay, just please complete these two jobs in sequence. Okay, first you submit this. After this submit, refresh and start the order promising server. After completing this, we'll proceed with the account receivables configuration. We'll run this O2C cycle. Then we'll go one by one the concepts whatever we have in the order management application. Okay, fine. Here since the job is running, I'm just canceling. But when you are practicing, please submit this after completing this. Here I'm going to verify. Okay, it takes time, you know that. Fine. So follow this process, submit this. After that, by selecting all the parameters and planning name as all, you submit this. This also takes time, like it hardly it may take 5 to 10 minutes time. This also will take time to refresh the data. Once the job is completed, almost all the setups are ready from the order management side. We can start with the receivables configuration. Okay, that's all for today. So if any questions on this, yes, definitely we can discuss. Fine. Okay, the next session we'll see receivables configuration. If time permits, within the same session we'll see O2C cycle also. The basic cycle will run where we'll create the sales order, we'll book, pick, release, ship confirmation, finally auto invoice creation, the receivables, and we'll create receipt and we'll apply the receipt on the transaction. Yeah. Okay. Fine, we'll connect in the next session. Thank you.